Now, at first glance, the new Oppo looks both very similar and very different than the existing BDP 93. In fact, the front panel actually is almost entirely identical, save for the more robust-looking buttons and the slight modification to the LCD display. There are also inputs for MHL and USB on the front panel. However, take a look at the back. Back here, you're going to see dual HDMI outputs, but also an HDMI input. There are dual USB inputs and also full 7.1 audio outputs. Now, of course, if you have legacy audio connections, you can still use the optical or coax digital output of the player to connect it to your AV receiver. Now, what you won't see are any analog video outputs. Now, these are officially, as of 2013 at least, disallowed under the new analog sunset rules, which essentially states that legit Blu-ray players made after December 31st of 2013 can't have analog outputs. Now, since Oppo didn't think it'd be a great idea to have to disable their players' analog outputs mid-production, I'd say this was a good call. Let's go back again to the dual HDMI outputs and HDMI input on the back of the player. Now, the two HDMI outs can be split so that one sends just audio to an AV receiver and the other goes to your display. This, of course, is great if you have a 3D television but a receiver that can't pass 3D. Same goes for the eventual issues we're going to have with 4K. You can also use the two HDMI outs as true dual outputs, sending both audio and video to two different devices at once. The HDMI input actually lets you set up a cable box or some other source device that will feed into the player. Then you can select the source device via the input button at the top of the remote. This means you can use the BDP 103 in line with another device. Now, that's of course going to be great for people who don't have an AV receiver or more than one HDMI cable running to their wall-mounted television. It also has another use, and that's for audio return channel, the ARC control. While it lets you select between the MHL front input and the HDMI back input, it also gives you control over whether you are using HDMI output 1 or 2 to receive ARC audio from your TV. We connected the BDP 103 to the internet using Ethernet. However, you can also use the included wireless B, G, and N dongle with any of the three USB connections, and that, of course, is going to make this a wireless player. The remote control, really similar to the last one, pretty much the same, except for the added buttons at the top for Netflix and Vudu, a few other minor tweaks. And we also like the new backlight. When you press it, it gives a nice white glow instead of the more amber glow of the old remote. Let's talk playback. Home menu, it has icons for Netflix, Vudu, Film Fresh, YouTube, Pandora, and Picasa. Now, it isn't clear yet whether Oppo can add more applications at a later date. Right now, it seems to be very fixed in what the player will offer. However, knowing Oppo, the sky is the limit. Aside from the benefits of Netflix, Vudu, and the others, we also like the effortless way in which it can stream audio, video, or photos from your network computers. I streamed a ton of Pandora music and also high-resolution audio content, and I loved how well this player sounded in reproducing the material. And then we tried out some high-resolution sources like Ernest Rangling's Order of Distinction. That's an AIX Records Blu-ray that features true HD 5.1 audio. Rangling's guitar work was just as beautiful as we experienced with the BDP 93, and the piano and percussion accompaniment was also rich and clean. This is a great recording, and that's because it's not recorded or mixed with any DSP boxes or compression. It is as pure as it comes. In fact, both the video and audio quality on this player are superb, as verified, of course, by real-world testing, as well as using the Spears and Munsell Blu-ray test disc and other objective reference sources that we rely on for evaluation. Overall point is this player looks good. Oppo has hit another one out of the park. The BDP 103 may not be light years ahead of the 93, but it is ready for 4K up conversion, and the Marvel QDO processing is one of the best systems on the market in our testing. Now, the player has some other whiz-bang features like 2D to 3D conversion, but overall, you want to buy this if you've been out of the market for a while, or if you're looking for a flagship Blu-ray player. If you've already got the BDP 93, look, congratulations, good job, you made a fine choice. And there's little reason to upgrade just yet.